This chapter will be talking about religion. And what's important about this chapter is to understand that we will be looking at it through the sociological point of view. So, as an instructor, I am not going to say that what we believe is wrong or right. It is important, though, to understand that as leaders of our community, we need to be exposed to a variety of ways of looking at religion. And so I'm going to explain religion from the historical point of view and the theories that I've described all semester, and then we're going to talk about different religions. So what is religion? Religion is a humanly created institution that sets apart the ordinary from the extraordinary, or from those things that we can't explain. And so some form of religion has been practiced in every culture. And it's important to notice that we are individuals or a species that has always sought the help of religion to try to help us explain those things that we can't easily explain. And so a functionalists say that religion is important for a society because it can give meaning to life. It can help to answer some of those questions about why we are here, what is the meaning behind our life. However, they also understand that it can create an us versus them mentality, which is a dysfunction because if we are told that our belief system is the only way, and we can't accept other people's way of thinking, then it can create a challenge. So conflict theory says that religion is a tool that is used to justify the status quo and to justify inequality. And so it's a tool that promotes cultural inequality because it supports and discourages change towards a more equal and just society. So, for example, if I have a religious belief system that says that in the creation story says that we used to live in paradise, but women were responsible for the loss of that paradise, that creation story can actually be the means to create an oppressive society for females. If you have a creation story or a religious story that says that yes, there is inequality in the world, but you should wait for your reward when you die, basically that's trying to promote the status quo. Don't try to change the environment. Let it be this way because you'll get your reward later. Symbolic interactionists, they say that we construct these religious belief systems. And so beliefs and experiences are not sacred unless people say that they're sacred and unless a huge or a significant number of people consider them sacred. So, for example, I may look at the picture on the left and I may see this book and say, yes, this is a Bible, it's a very sacred symbol. But I may look at the image on the center where there are feathers and there is a wheel, and I may say, why would people think that feathers are sacred? That doesn't make sense to me. And so that's where symbolic interaction is, that's where they study these belief systems, how people think something is sacred and something else is not sacred. And so we come to the different types of organizations, and I'm going to start with the smallest and end with the biggest. So cults are religious organizations that are based on new ideas. So, for example, the oldest way of looking at the spiritual self or spirituality is to believe in many gods and in multiple gods. However, when Christianity came into existence, it was considered a cult because it was based on an unconventional idea, the idea that there was only one God. And so, as a belief system starts to get more social power, as it gets integrated more into society, then it becomes a denomination. At this point in history, Christianity is a denomination, and although there is a core belief system, you have a lot of different sects within this denomination. So, for example, within the umbrella of Christianity, you have Baptist, Lutheran, Methodist, Catholics, evangelicals, and so it's usually groups that splinter off because they disagree with some of the core belief systems of some of the other Christian groups. Some people would like to take us to what's called ecclesia. This is where a government officially promotes one religious belief system. And so it's where the state promotes and sanctions a monopolies of one religion. And this can be a challenge because what that means is that then other religious belief systems may be discouraged, or it can get to the point where they could get punished. And so we come to the different expressions of religions. Polytheism is the belief in divinity of many gods. This is the oldest way of believing in divinity. Then we have what's called monotheism, which is divinity that's found in a single god. Animism is that divinity is found within non-human beings. Totemism is divinity that's found in the connection between humans and nature. And then atheism is the belief in nothing that is divine, that nothing exists outside of human existence. Within Christianity, and especially within Catholicism, we have something that's called liberation theology. This is where you combine Christian principles and political activism. This is the radical belief system that the Gospels are revolutionary, and they were designed to actually create a more just world. And we will be studying this in this chapter. Feminist theology is the strive for social justice for women. And then there's other types of theologists that strive to bring justice to different groups, whether it's indigenous groups or other groups that are poor and oppressed. Mega churches are those groups that bring in a lot of people, and so it tends to resemble a sports arena rather than a traditional building. In Houston, there is a mega church that is able to bring in over 40,000 individuals every week. Now, it is still the case that the majority of the pastors tend to be males, and it's usually a single person that tends to be at the center. Now, although it's changing, where now you're starting to see females and you're starting to see people of color, it is still the case that they tend to be very clean cut and they still have to be married. And so these individuals have a very big television presence. And so there's research that's been done about the power of being able to portray your values to the rest of the world when you have a television presence, but we will not be talking about that today. Finally, secularization basically is the belief that religion should not play a role in government, education, or other public parts of society. The primary reason is when you favor one religion, then you end up discriminating all the other religions. And so the belief of separation of church and state is something that is common in our society. And the secularists believe that modernization will bring a decrease in the influence in religion. However, in our society, it's actually the opposite. The United States has actually had a rise in fundamentalism, which is a Protestant belief that the literally interpreted Bible is fundamental to Christian life. And literally means that it is taken word by word and it should be believed and people should live accordingly.